Hello everybody. Thought I'd do another one of my favorite rifles, firearms, whatever you want to call it. And it's going to kind of touch back on memories of the hunts past. 1983, when I killed this 6-point buck with the rifle that I used. Of course, there's the brass casing that I used, or that I shot it with. And if you watched that Memories of the Hunts Past, you know that was done with a 7x57 Mauser. Now I called it a 7x57 German Mauser, but all my research and everything that I've done, you know, what now with the World Wide Web and the internet, you know, this was back in '83 when I had that rifle. This may not have been a German K98 Mauser. I don't know, 100% sure. But it was still a 7x57 Mauser. It may have been a Brazilian Mauser, but I'm not for sure. But I got rid of that rifle long time ago. I mean, I had it in '83, because in '82 I didn't have a rifle of my own. My father-in-law let me use a 16 gauge pump shotgun with slugs. Then in '82, I'd gotten that 7x57 Mauser bolt action rifle. Like I said, I always called it a German Mauser, but I believe now, after all my research, it was either a Brazilian Mauser or and I would say it was a Brazilian Mauser, and I'll get into that here in a minute. But I had that rifle, and after I killed that 6-point, I was so proud. I took that rifle to a gunsmith here locally. He done gunsmith work. He done rebluing, and his rebluing wasn't cold blue, it was hot tank blue. And I took that rifle to him, and I done the stock myself. I took a piece of glass and scraped all the finish off of it and restained the stock. I actually polyurethaned it, the wood looked so good. And he reblued all the metal, the barrel bands and everything, and polished up the bolt and the bolt handle to where they were like chrome. And I had that rifle for a few more years, but I didn't hunt with it anymore. Then, like an idiot, you gotta remember, I was in my early 20s, like an idiot, I traded it off. Well, here about maybe, I'm trying to think, it could have been 15 years ago, it could have been 20 years ago. A friend of mine who lives in Texas, who's a gun dealer, and I had my CNR Cure and Relic license. He had a 7x57 Mauser, and it was a Brazilian Mauser. That's what he called it. It is a Czechoslovakian Mauser that was sold to Brazil. I done some research and found out in 1932, Brazil ordered rifles from Czechoslovakia, and when those were made and shipped to Brazil, those were built with a bent bolt handle. Most of the Czechoslovakian Mausers you see have a straight bolt handle. Okay, so I tried to look at the serial number to see if I could find out how old this was or what, but I couldn't find nothing. So, you know, it's a VZ24. It was made in 1924. That's when they started production. Brazil ordered these, since this one has the turn down bolt, Brazil ordered these in 1932. So I'm thinking that possibly this is a 1932, maybe older. They quit making the Mauser, the 7x57 Mausers, or BRNOs, what they call them, VZ24s, in 1942. So it's somewhere between 1932 and 1942. And I'm going to show you that rifle right now. And I don't know if it'll all get in the frame or not, but here's the rifle. Now, this is not the original stock. I'll explain that later. But this is a rifle. It's short. It's about 21 inches barrel length. This rifle Some of the stuff I found out, you know, you have your regular rifle sling, okay, for your shoulder carry. But on the side, it has sling loops. That was for the cavalry, so they could carry it across their back. Because if you carried it with the regular shoulder strap on it, you'd have the trigger guard hitting you in the back. So, I'll put some pictures in here of the top of the receiver, and here where it says VZ24. And then on the barrel underneath, because this is imported by, I have to look and see, sorry. Came through, I think there's Georgia, VT, Vermont, and it was imported, okay. And it has a new serial number on it. It has the original serial number here. It starts with PM, and I tried to do a search on it and really can't find anything useful. This rifle has the turn down bolt. Like I said, the Brazilian rifles came with turn down bolts. It has a great safety. This thing is unloaded. Has a box magazine, holds 5. And I've never used stripper clips. Back then in '83 when I killed the 6-point, I didn't use a stripper clip. I just loaded them like you would any other bolt action rifle. Put 5 rounds down in it, close the bolt, and then there's your safety. With the safety up like that, you can work the bolt. With the safety this way, the bolt is locked. With the safety all the way down here, the bolt is locked. Up, you can open the bolt. Down to the left is fire. And of course, this bolt will work. It doesn't have the stop on the magazine plate. It's made to go in without. And these guns, these were not built to be baby. You got to work it. A lot of people will get these, oh, it jams on me, it jams on me. No, this was a war gun. It was made to be like that. Okay, and I'm gonna squeeze the trigger and close the bolt. That way it won't, well, it did fire. And we'll check it again. No, now, don't fire. Okay. I must not have this trigger pulled far enough. But the sights on it go from, looks like it's on 0 meters and goes all the way up to, well, I'll say 0 meters. Guess that's 0. And it goes all the way up to 20, which from my reading is 2,000 meters. So everything on this thing is original, like I said, but the stock, and the reason why. And this is what I'll tell you about when you order, if you have a CNR license or whatever, and you order something, be close, careful, check when you get it. When this came from Texas, from the guy I know, we were good friends, the stock, the original stock, was broke off in the box, in bubble wrap. It looked like somebody had run over the box with a forklift tire. I took pictures and everything. FedEx refunded my money because I'd already paid for it. FedEx refunded my money, and I bought a replacement stock, which is a VZ24 stock for it. It's got the little finger grooves here to hold it. And I just changed out the stock, the handguard, to have everything like it is. This is beat and tattered. I've thought about reworking it. I like it like it is. You know, like I said, this is one of my favorites. I do have a K98 8x57 Mauser, and I've hunted with it, but the 7x57 Mauser is the most memorable rifle because I killed my first buck. I was 22 years old, killed my first buck. It was a 6-point, a little dusty right now. And if you've watched the Memories of the Hunts past, you know the story. So I'm not going to repeat the whole story. But it was a Friday, I think, the last day of the first week. Snow on the ground. Doe comes walking out, him following right behind her. And I shot one shot, and the doe disappeared, he disappeared. I walked down to look, found the tracks where they were standing, seen her tracks going over the hill, his track went towards the hillside, and then turned, and then I found him. And when I found him, I didn't even know it was my deer. I thought somebody out there had shot a deer and left it lay, and it was there. And then it dawned, it was my deer. And I was so excited. You know, like I said, started hunting, deer hunting. I'd been hunting squirrels, rabbits before then, but in 21 I was invited, or not 20, when I was 21 in 82, I was invited to go, used a shotgun, never had the opportunity. Got the 7x57 Mauser and went in 83, and on Friday killed that 6-point. I loved that rifle. I wish I had never ever got rid of it. But like I said, I come across this one. My buddy in Texas knew I was looking for a 7x57, and I kept telling him a German Mauser. And everything I've researched on K98s, they never made a 7x57. It was all 7 point, I can't remember if it was, I don't think it was 7.92, 7 point something by, I can't remember. It's got a different number instead of 7x57. But it's a great rifle. Didn't have a lot of recoil. The only difference in the one I had and this one, like I said, this one's still all original. This is your bolt release right here to pull your bolt out, okay? And I believe it was right here. I can't remember for sure where it was at. The one I had, somebody had put a Lyman peep sight. The original sight was still on it, but they'd put a Lyman peep sight, so they'd notched out the wood, and I don't remember if it was in front of the bolt release or if it was back here. I don't think it was back here. I think it was up here. And it had 3 apertures that went with it. And that's what I used instead of the front sight. I used that Lyman peep sight. It was on there. And it was accurate. But like I said, I'll have some still photos, you know, of this. But this is one of my favorite rifles, one of my favorites. It's a great caliber. I wish I knew what to tell you the diameter was, but if you're a gun nut and you reload or whatever, you know what the diameter is of a 7x57 Mauser bullet. But it was a great rifle to hunt with. It weighs about 9 pounds. So it's not a light rifle, but it'll get the job done. So with that, I appreciate you watching. And I might have another one of my favorites come up later. But I did want to do that one because that is one of my favorites. First rifle caliber that I killed a buck with. And I've killed bucks with 30-30s, 35 Remington, 30-06, 308, 300 Blackout, 223, but this one holds a place in my heart because it was the first rifle and my first buck that I ever got. So, as we're fond of saying, we'll see you in the woods. Thanks for watching.